name's Dee Dee Vert from In the Know Radio, and today I'm here with Karl Smith. Karl Smith is not only a hypnosis trainer, but he's also, during the day, a police tactical SWAT officer. So he works specifically with emergency service with military personnel and police officers. So, Karl, tell us a little bit about how you first got into hypnosis.
Well, I'm currently from the UK, and what happened is I served 12 years in the British Army. I went to all the places that your local holiday makers and places won't send you to. I've done all the Iraqs, the Afghans, the Northern Islands, the Bosnias. I did 12 years of that. I left the British Army, and then I went into the police force in the UK. About 2006 that was. I joined the police, and then I became a tactical firearms officer. So I did the high energy kinetic type stuff where we go building entries, fast cars, that type of stuff. And then while I was serving as a police officer, I basically had no interest in hypnosis. I'd never had, or hypnotherapy, no interest. Then one day I was sitting at home, and a drunk driver turned up in my life, and he drove over me. Basically, the car hit me twice. He reversed over me, then drove over me. I had serious injuries to my legs, my arms, my chest, my lower back, breaks in my clavicle, ulnar, and facial injuries as well. The guy basically was that drunk that he hit me, took me 80 yards down the road. I popped out the bottom, and then he had the common decency to take me home. He hit me again and dragged me all the way back.
Wow.
So I came out of that.
I can't even imagine what that must have felt like.
So the thing is, I'd spent all that time in war zones. I'd spent all that time as a police officer dealing with day-to-day policing events and stuff like that. And this guy turns up out of nowhere and does the injuries and causes that. So 18 months, what's going on is that I was physically all right. Start to mend the broken bones, they all sorted themselves out. But mentally, I was starting to develop anxieties, stress, numbness, disassociation, and I was completely devoid. One thing that what did become apparent is that the drugs that the doctors were giving me were then becoming part of my life. They were needed. You know, I was living.
Pain medication?
Yeah, it was tramadol and stuff like that. And so it was high intensity things. And Jack Daniels as well became a very, very good friend of mine.
That's a nice combination.
Yeah, so it wasn't until one day that you know, I was found curled up in a ball on the floor that people realised that obviously I was physically fine, but mentally something was going tragically wrong. So a police colleague of mine stepped in, who was a hypnotherapist, and he came in, and what he did is in a couple of hours changed my life forever, and my opinion and the way that I do things as well. I was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder. Even though I don't like the disorder end bit on it, I was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress. And what he did for me and alleviated that pain, I was able to sleep again, the reoccurring nightmares had disappeared, the anxiety, the drinking dramatically came off as well. So with that inspiring moment in life, that really changing moment in my life, I then became so intrigued in hypnosis and the power of the mind. I then went into self-hypnosis techniques and what you can actually do yourself. And then I started training up, and eventually I then started my own business. I became very well known in the UK for what I do, for rapid approaches to anxieties and stress. And then I developed my own method with post-traumatic stress using hypnotherapy or hypnosis. And I developed that, and now I get to travel the world. So
Wonderful.
Literally, I went from literally, you know, army, police, tactical side of things, being run over, to now being here in Las Vegas and traveling the world, you know, and I've got several more countries coming up. So it dramatically changed my life.
Okay, so give us an example, because if you're a tactical police officer, would that be going into hostage situations? How would you use the hypnosis, or at least some kind of covert languaging?
Obviously you have to be very cautious if you're using hypnosis in a policing environment. It's very frowned upon, and you know, and it doesn't matter what part of the world we're in. The world hypnosis and policing doesn't come in. But what I do find is that if we are using it for negotiation skills, or we're talking people out, or we've got angry people on the street, using that conversational hypnosis, those long pauses, those drawn out, and allowing them to come to you and pacing, leading, then that allows me to diffuse situations very quickly, and I'm normally picked up by my colleagues and thrown into situations to go do stuff. So I've got that aspect of it, so using the conversational side for diffusing situations is really effective. The other method as well is that I've used, thankfully not a lot, but as I'm trained by Larry and Cheryl Ellman of the Dave Ellman Institute, I've gone into that medical side of things as well. What I do is if I'm involved in a road traffic collision, or we've got an incident where somebody's been cut heavily or anything like that, I use hypnosis on them to then slow that bleeding until the paramedics, the emergency service, the paramedics can turn up really. So I use it to do pain management and to help any injuries.
Oh, that's great, because we know that for a fact that hypnosis can stop bleeding.
Yes, and I've got cases where I've actually worked at the side of the road at road traffic collisions and done that. So yeah, it's an amazing thing.
So you also train police officers and you train military personnel, so describe a little bit about that.
Well, it's a tough area to get into, literally, because there's a big sturdy wall shoved up in front of them, and I tend to attract, because of my story and the way that I've done things. I've served in the military and I've done my SWAT officer time. It attracts people towards me because it gets them that belief that we can do it. So what I tend to do is teach people foundation of hypnosis, so they can understand the mechanics behind it, and then the applications that they can use it within their environment as well. So that's what I do. I tend to use it that way.
Okay, and what about clients? So you're working with PTSD?
Yes, yeah.
So, and you're working with, do you have military personnel who are coming back that you work with? Or
yes.
Even police officers who've been traumatized on the job?
Yeah, obviously with the current austerity measures that are going around the world, in the UK we're definitely feeling the pinch within the emergency services and the military. And I get people that are drawn towards me. PTSD is on the rise, or the labelling of people with PTSD is on the rise as well. So what we're doing at the moment is I go out to do seminars, I do training, and I give the awareness as well. I go out to do lots of awareness with people. So that's the big thing. But post-traumatic stress is where I focus all my energy on, due to the fact that of my experiences in life.
And obviously military and police are going to have trauma.
Yes, yeah, it's a day, and I deal with PTSD or post-trauma stress on a daily basis. It is a daily basis and is on the increase. And even if it's not so much post-trauma stress, it's severe anxieties and stuff like that I'm dealing with. And it's not only just those people that we've got to look at, the officers that are involved, or the paramedics, or whoever it is, the firefighters, it's their families.
Right.
Because the military and the police services have a coping mechanism. When they go into the tea room, they can talk, they can laugh, they can joke, they can outburst and say things that they couldn't naturally say at home. Yet sometimes when officers or emergency services or military develop trauma, they don't realise it themselves and take it out, or it is transferred back at home. It's literally taken home with them. So it causes, arguments. There's a lot of conflict at home, and I tend to see not just that officer deal with those or the military people. I spend a lot of time with the families as well, because that's an important. So yes, you've got to do both sides of it.
And what about a victim of crime? Somebody who's just been maybe mugged or beat up, or maybe even raped or something like that. Do you do some trauma work on the site there?
Yes, yeah, I do. Obviously not within that.
Covertly?
You can, yes, and that goes into the covert side of things, calming people down, diffusing the situation. Obviously with trauma, we have to, I'm not going to do any work straight away with them, but anything I can do to help to alleviate any stress or emotional and support that person, then I do that there and then. And
even if it was any support so that it doesn't become PTSD, are you able to alleviate that?
Yes, yeah, on a daily basis I do that, yeah.
Wow,
so I go
fantastic. So what have you seen in your career that we could call miraculous or, astounding with hypnosis?
I've had, and it's hard for me to say because I've had so many great results working with people on a daily basis, that transforming people very quickly and very rapidly. For those people who know me, especially at the conventions and stuff, I have a very rapid way of doing stuff. And I think that high impact, I've changed a lot of people's lives and the way that they act. But I think for me that I still go back to my own story about how that one incident in my life changed everything. It changed somebody that had a family that did what he did on a daily basis, took the dog for a walk and had no real interest in, may go golf or football, to now that one incident changing my life completely and utterly, and being able to go out and tell that story and help so many others. That's what I always go back to that one story, but going out and being able to give my perspective and give that out to people and change so many lives, that's what I love about this.
What I'm a bit curious about, when you work with someone who's been in a car accident, a shooting, whatever, and they're bleeding there on the side of the road or the sidewalk, and the paramedics come, do they ever comment on the condition of the person? Do they notice that, hey, this person should be bleeding a lot more according to their injury? Do they take notice at all?
I tend to, obviously, we're saying this now, I have to keep things low key when I'm back in the UK and stuff, but I think a lot of people, that because I work in a certain area, know who I am and what I'm up to. So it's a case of, if I do deal with anything and they know I'm there, it's a case of they know roughly what I've been up to. And a lot of those people in my area have been on my courses, so they're all doing it as well now, and that's the real high, that's the thing as well. Spread. Yeah, so it's a high impact thing for me, and we go back to miracles and stuff like that. We don't know how many people we may have saved or whatever by just doing simple things. Exactly.
Whether it's that person on the sidewalk or the side of the road, or somebody that could have developed a case of PTSD as being a victim, that later on just went on to live life because maybe you diffused it a lot in their mind.
Yes, and that's a big thing for me as well, diffusing it and just getting them back on track, getting people back into the way that they should be working or family life and doing that. And it's an amazing, I just love doing it. It's an amazing thing.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Speaking with you.
It's been great speaking to you. Thank you.